Fear Collective, thanks for joining me one more time. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2006 remake of The Hills Have Eyes. Now, The Hills Have Eyes is basically a horror classic. To even dare revisit it is a huge undertaking just because the film means so much to so many horror fans out there. But Alexandre stepped up to the plate, and what an interesting director to do so. He has some really incredible films. High Tension is a favorite of mine, and then most recently Crawl. He also did P2, which I kind of forgot about, but I remember having a good time with it. When I realized that he was the director of this remake, I definitely wanted to give it a revisit. And I wasn't disappointed. Now, maybe it's just my poor taste, but I've spoken about how I love the early 2000s and the grittiness and the bombastic, offensive bloodiness of it all. And The Hills Have Eyes is very much in that same vein. If you watched my review on Wolf Creek, I spoke a little bit about the political climate of the 2000s, where the country was at, and how that influenced horror filmmakers. And I think there are some really interesting elements to pull out of The Hills Have Eyes outside of it being just a fun, bloody, good time. Now, the basic story is the same. A family is given bad directions. They are in the middle of the desert, and they get attacked by mutant hillbillies. But I think when you boil it down, the main theme that I kind of pulled out of this film was us versus them. And what more fitting a theme than us versus them? We're in the middle of an election right now, and things are super crazy, and everything just feels very territorial and angry. And maybe that's shading my viewing a bit of this film, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. Looking at the film, the townspeople who inhabited this desert village versus the government who essentially forced them out of their homes and dropped bombs on them. The vacationing family, the modern nuclear family, if you will, versus the townies. And even within our main family, the techie Democrat versus the gunslinging patriarch. What it all boils down to is territory and the idea of what's mine is mine. And if you threaten that or impinge upon it, it's survival of the fittest. My favorite aspect of the film is the insane character design. The practical effects were just really fun and cool, and there wasn't a lot of CGI. There was some really cool pyrotechnics, and the mutants just look crazy. Overall, it's an imperfect film, but it's fun, and I would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the 2000s remakes like A Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Amityville Horror. Scare factor, I'm going to give this film 5 out of 10. Impact, I'm going to give this film 5 out of 10, and I will definitely be buying it and adding it to my collection because I'm a nerd like that. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I have more reviews coming your way.